What up, gamers? Spencer here, and welcome back to my reaction to the SpongeBob conspiracy compilation with 8 new mini theories. Last time we reacted to Mrs. Puff theory and a part 2 of it, and yeah, those were very good. But in this video, we'll be watching the evolution theory and the human mini war theory. Um, Also, apparently, there's a debunking crab theory. I didn't see about this. But yeah, let's go and watch it, man. I do remember like a bit of this theory though. I do remember a little bit of it, and I thought it was still pretty good. Like, actually, I think everything in this theory, like I believe, compared to the Mrs. Puff theory, where I wasn't really into the whole warden stuff. I thought maybe that was a bit of a stretch. This one, I feel like I pretty much like believe in like everything. I think, but I kind of forgot maybe. But yeah, as we go through the theories here, like the old ones, I do like slowly kind of forgot them because to me, the television theory and the Mrs. Puff theory has been the most memorable one to me. Anyway, guys, here we go. Let's watch. The evolution theory. It's all connected.
Are the Bikini Bottom citizens the result of nuclear radiation? Who is Pearl's mother? What is the Krabby Patty secret formula? These are by far the 3 biggest questions in the show SpongeBob SquarePants, and today I'm going to be answering all 3 of them and more with just one theory. Get ready for the darkest SpongeBob
Yeah, this is cool to like
conspiracy you'll ever
mix
see.
these all
This
together.
is the evolution theory.
Part 1, the Bikini Atoll theory.
By far, the most popular SpongeBob theory out there is the Bikini Atoll nuclear radiation theory. It's pretty simple. It's been confirmed that Bikini Bottom is actually beneath a real-life place called Bikini Atoll. From 1946 to 1958, the United States did nuclear tests there, devastating the area and leaving it radioactive even to this day. The theory states that the reason why the citizens of Bikini Bottom can talk and have formed advanced societies is because of mutations caused by these nuclear tests. And that's about the whole theory. Even though there's tons and tons of videos about it, none of them actually go in depth with it or really look through the show for evidence. But y'all know that if
You're
Alex
not like
Bale
him, though.
is making a theory on it, then it's not going to be some baby surface level analysis. And once I really started looking into this theory, I realized that there is so much more here than anyone thinks. Get ready, because today we're going to be solving the biggest mysteries in the history of SpongeBob SquarePants and changing the way you look at the entire show. So without further ado, let's begin.
I mean,
the
the
theory.
television theory got
In
me
order
thinking,
to find out whether the Bikini
like, seeing
Atoll
the show
theory is
differently.
true, we first have to determine whether fish talking and being so intelligent is unique to Bikini Bottom, or if that's just the way the SpongeBob universe works. You know, it could just be that all animals in this world are able to talk, and that's completely normal because at the end of the day, SpongeBob is still just a cartoon. Well, if we take a look at Season 10, Episode 10, Feral Friends, we get a bit of a hint about how the SpongeBob world works. In this episode, a green moon appears and transforms all the characters into less cartoony, real-life versions of themselves.
Yeah, some lore here.
SpongeBob, Patrick.
Just like in real life, they can't talk and end up trying to eat each other. The French narrator is watching all this unfold, and he says this very important line.
I have been monitoring the behavior of the green moon all day. It is called Neptune's moon. Every 100 years, it de-evolves everyone in Bikini Bottom into primal fish.
Every 100 years, it de-evolves everyone in Bikini Bottom into primal fish. So this implies that the characters in Bikini Bottom are more evolved and were once like these primal fish.
I know more evolve in. Oh dang it! I didn't I didn't read it in time.
This doesn't prove that the evolution only exists in Bikini Bottom. It could still be a worldwide phenomenon. Remember that bonus DVD clip I found in my television theory? It was about humans studying fish in Bikini Bottom because of their intelligence.
Land-loving scientists have tried to learn the secrets of intelligence. Their studies led them to the sea, where the citizens of one undersea colony demonstrated a genius so enormous, the scientists felt compelled to record their actions for use in teaching mankind how to live better.
This makes it sound an awful lot like the fish in Bikini Bottom actually are uniquely evolved, and it's
Yeah,
not
they're more
some
advanced.
worldwide phase. Then, in the SpongeBob
Oh, don't
20
feed
year
the muse.
anniversary special, SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout, we get a major piece of evidence for this theory. SpongeBob and Patrick take a tour of the surface world and eventually go to a fish store and see some very
Yeah, this episode was
realistic,
interesting.
less-evolved fish.
Especially, what was it called? The trusty slab.
What kind
The
of
trusty
monsters
slab.
would want to keep fish folk in jail like this?
They're so beautiful.
They can't talk back to SpongeBob
It's
and
a
Patrick,
Napoleon
and they're
fish.
actually able to swim freely through the water instead of being affected by gravity. They are clearly showing us that both evolved and primitive fish exist in this universe at the same time. Now, sometimes we've seen Bikini Bottom characters represented as realistic fish like this, but only
Yeah.
when they're out of water, never while they're still in water like these fish. We even see this again in the beginning of the third SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. The movie opens with a coral reef full of these realistic primal fish, but eventually we get to Bikini Bottom where the more evolved fish live. So there you go, direct proof that the citizens of Bikini Bottom are uniquely evolved. This is a very deliberate world building choice for the creators.
Many
to
people
make.
ask, what about Sandy? Um, there's a good answer for this, or you couldn't find a good answer for this. I can't find any conclusive evidence of a land animal that isn't able to talk, so it's possible everyone on land is more evolved somehow. Yeah, I can see that, just being, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I just realized with the SpongeBob movie, the first one, like they were on land, right? But they're still cartoons. But then you got stuff like the second movie where they were more 3D, which yeah, does make them look more evolved. Oh yeah, it is kind of weird where sometimes when they're on land, like I guess their appearance can vary from being a cartoon to yeah, just being more 3D or realistic. But yeah, I'm sure there's some kind of like weird inconsistency with that, with like how that mechanic works in this universe.
So I guess that kind of confirms the
You guys
Bikini
saw like
Atoll
Patrick
theory.
flashed.
Theory confirmed. We did it. Woo! Well, let's hold on for a second. As much as I'd love to call this theory complete, there's actually one major piece of evidence that gives me some resistance. Something I've never seen anyone else bring up when talking about this theory. Prehistoric Bikini Bottom. We've seen episodes like UGG or SB129 that show Bikini Bottom millions of years in the
Future.
past, but we still see evolved versions of SpongeBob and Patrick. Sure, they may not be super intelligent or advanced, but they're still clearly way more evolved than the primitive, realistic versions we see in Feral Friends or in the fish store. So, how are we seeing these evolutions millions of years before the Bikini Atoll tests? Well, unfortunately, I think the only conclusion is that the Bikini Atoll theory just isn't true. I mean, clearly something has caused Bikini Bottom citizens to be uniquely evolved, there's no denying that. But whatever caused it took place millions of years ago and couldn't have been the Bikini Atoll nuclear tests. Then, what really caused the evolution? In the entire show, the only thing we've seen that directly affects the evolution of characters is the Green Moon and Feral Friends.
Yeah.
Except the French narrator specifically calls it Neptune's moon,
It is called Neptune's moon.
named after the ruler of the seven seas, King
Neptune.
Neptune. King Neptune is a character who's been around since the beginning of the sea. He's a character who the Bikini Bottom citizens view as their god, and he's a character who has the ability to change fish into other
And then the other
forms.
Neptune.
What the?
Oops.
King Neptune used his magic to turn the fish of the sea into more evolved subjects for him to rule over. He's the one who's been behind it all this time. Hey, Alex from the future here. So before I move on, let's talk a little more about the Bikini Atoll theory.
Oh,
a lot
there's
of
more?
people really wanted this theory to be true, and I get it. This is like the most iconic, classic SpongeBob theory. And the comment I got the most on this theory was the idea that the prehistoric Bikini Bottom that disproves the Bikini Atoll theory doesn't actually take place millions of years ago. It's actually the fallout directly after the Bikini Atoll tests when life first started to mutate and evolve in Bikini Bottom. And that's a cool idea, it's a cool way to maybe keep the Bikini Atoll theory. But here's the thing. The narrator actually says it takes place millions of years ago.
It is here that millions of years ago, life began taking its first clumsy steps out of the darkness.
And we
Yeah, that's
see
hard
a
to-
dinosaur flying above the sea. I'm sorry, this just has to be from the actual prehistoric age millions of years ago.
Yeah, that's
Alright,
hard to
but here's another
fit
comment I
in.
got. If this show's all supposed to be a television theory documentary, how were they able to get this footage from millions of years ago?
Yeah, that's what I
the
thought about
SB
too. Like during that segment, I didn't want to say it because I just want to keep watching the video. But like, I do wonder. Oh, yeah, I just realized, just seeing this, time travel. There you go.
129, Squidward time travels back
Yeah.
to the prehistoric age.
They can time
and
travel.
Obviously, the cameraman came with him, otherwise, we wouldn't be able to watch the episode. So, unfortunately, no matter how you look at it, there's no way this episode with evolved fish wasn't actually millions of years before the Bikini Atoll tests. I'm sorry, guys, the Bikini Atoll theory just can't be true. Or at least that's what I thought, until I recently rewatched the season 10 episode Lost and Found. This episode takes place entirely beneath the Krusty Krab. And if you remember, beneath the Krusty Krab is where the filmmakers store secret behind-the-scenes stuff like the surveillance room filming the characters, or even props used in the SpongeBob movie.
Yeah.
But while SpongeBob is trying to get back upstairs, he passes through this area.
Lost world.
Whoa.
A massive underwater prehistoric area that even has dinosaurs despite it being underwater. The only explanation I can think of for this is, like everything else we see down here,
It's all
this
fake.
is a fake set created by the
Dang.
showrunners for an episode of SpongeBob. Meaning, the prehistoric Bikini Bottom episodes we see are most likely faked by
Yeah.
the showrunners, and the Bikini
Dang.
Atoll theory could still be true. Also, to further prove this, in a new season 14 episode, Hysterical History, we get another flashback to prehistoric
What?
Bikini Bottom, but it's sort of implied to be at the same
Sponge
time
Gar.
as humans existing. So yeah, really seems like the Bikini Atoll theory is plausible now. I
Dang,
still think both
okay.
theories for why the fish are evolved work pretty well.
Yeah, I do
Neptune's
think so
moon
too.
actually
Depends on how
shows
you
us
s-
some
how you
direct
view it.
evidence of fish becoming more or less evolved, but the actual Bikini Atoll test footage being used throughout the show doesn't really feel like a coincidence to me either.
Yeah.
Either of them fit the theory.
I mean, for me, I would like with this new stuff coming up here. Like, I can definitely see the Bikini Atoll theory like fitting in with his theories now. But yeah, I can see that.
I like them both. You
I
can
like
just
'em-
choose
I like-
your
I like them
favorite.
both,
Let's
too.
get back to the theory. But now I have an interesting question for you. What is the relationship between evolved fish and primitive unevolved fish? Well, they probably just peacefully coexist in the sea without bothering each other. You know, just like real life humans and animals. Wait a second.
The war.
I
Oh,
also
he
have
watched it
some new
too?
thoughts on the war theory, but I'm gonna save them for the next mini theory. I promise not
Oh,
all
the
these mini
human war
theories are
theory.
like Mrs. Puff Part 2s, but a lot of them kind of build off of the previous.
Yeah, Cinnamon
theory.
Toast Ken watched it. Oh yeah,
In
he did.
season
I forgot
3,
about
episode
that.
10,
I
the
watched
Krusty
it.
Krab training video. There is this hilarious, absurd moment when they're talking about.
That was a
Mr.
long time ago,
Krabs.
though.
After the war, Krabs stayed secluded in a deep depression that seemed endless.
Like, what war happened in Bikini Bottom? They just tell us this and then completely drop it. But with this new context, is it possible that crabs fought in a war against these primitive, wild fish of the sea? I mean, let's remember in Feral Friends, some of those de-evolved fish were massive compared to the evolved fish, and they immediately started attacking each other.
The battle for the survival of the fittest rages on in the animal kingdom.
So yeah, in order for the Bikini Bottom citizens to survive and expand, they would probably break into some kind of war. And from the
Yeah.
sounds of it, this war must have been pretty brutal to put Mr. Krabs into such a deep depression. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Is there actually any evidence that proves the war Mr. Krabs fought in was specifically this evolutionary war? Well, through the few flashbacks we get, we know that Mr. Krabs served in the Navy. And yes, they were sailing ships on an ocean, even though they're already underwater. This is actually a real-life phenomenon where certain parts of the sea can have a higher level of salinity, and it looks like
Yeah.
an underwater ocean. Shout out Miss Parks, my high school marine biology teacher. We also know from maps of Bikini Bottom that the town is surrounded by this underwater ocean. So that places Mr. Krabs' war outside of Bikini Bottom where this evolutionary war would have to take place. Then if we take a look at Mr. Krabs' home, we see it is full of memorabilia from his past days in the Navy. But hidden within here is something that will absolutely blow your mind and answer one of the biggest questions in the show. Hanging there on his wall is a picture of a massive whale next to a ship. You don't think that could be... No, it can't be. Pearl's mother?
Yeah, it could be.
Wait, I want to see it. I want to find it. Hold up. The things that got my eye right now are the fish and this actual person on the wall. There's a whale.
That's a
There's
human
whale. Is
head.
it the
Was that a
whale?
human
Hanging
head?
there on his wall.
The
is a
whale?
picture of a massive whale next to
The
it.
whale!
You don't think that could be...
Pearl's mom, I got it!
Pearl is Mr. Krabs'
You know,
wife.
now that I'm thinking back about it, just like with the whole Mrs. Puff and the whole picture, you know, like just seeing these other like fishes, like portraits of them. I don't know. Now I'm thinking like maybe it could not be. It could just be like a random picture of a whale. But in this case, he's gonna present it as it is the mom.
Whale daughter. The show never really explains how a crab can be the father of a whale, but most people just assume she was adopted. People have been speculating about who Pearl's biological mother is for years, and I think we finally just found our answer. We see 2 photos of this whale on a ship in Season 3, Episode 9, just 1 episode before we find out Mr. Krabs fought in a war. Since this is among all of Mr. Krabs' Navy stuff, I think we can assume that this is something he encountered and not just some random picture of a whale on a ship above the ocean. The whale is massive compared to the ship. We've seen adult whales in Bikini Bottom before, but they are nothing compared to the size of this whale.
Not that big.
This has a much closer resemblance to Pearl when she de-evolved in Feral Friends and became massive. So this has to be an
Dang, she was
unevolved
really big,
primitive
even
whale,
Squidward.
and the picture
Oh my
clearly
gosh.
shows them fighting. Not only does this prove that there was a war between evolved and primitive fish, but Mr. Krabs definitely fought in it. But this also implies something very dark. Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's mother.
Yeah. That's kind of sad to think about.
The only direct reference we get in the show to Pearl's mother is one of Mr. Krabs' many sayings, Mother of Pearl.
Mother of Pearl! Mother of
Yeah, he does see that a lot.
Holy Mother of Pearl!
He uses it in places something like holy crap or dear God, only saying it when something truly shocking or terrible happens, because he knows the terrible thing that happened to Pearl's mother. Why did Mr. Krabs go into such a deep depression after the war? Because he's haunted by what he's done, and the smoking harpoon to prove it is right there on his wall.
And he has the harpoon on his wall.
I don't know about that.
So, that leaves us with an important question. Why did he adopt Pearl? After he killed her mother, he probably realized she had an infant daughter who had the evolutionary genes. Instead of leaving her to die, he adopted her as his own, all while keeping the
Dang, that's a
dark
sad
secret that he was
illustration.
responsible for her mother's death. Okay, whoa. So I obviously just very quickly skimmed over the fact that for some reason Pearl is evolved, but Pearl's mother isn't, and I didn't really provide a good explanation for this.
But what if the mom whale was a normal whale and had a whale baby? Then why would it have been Pearl? Like she's the evolved form, right? No, that's convenient. She just happened to be evolved. Okay.
Honestly, at the time, I didn't really have one, but I think I may have a
I never thought
possible
about it.
explanation now. Whatever caused this evolution, whether it was magic from King Neptune or radiation from nuclear
It could be the
tests,
timing, you know?
whatever it is, we know
Like
it
something made it
happened
evolve.
only within a specific range. So you could hypothetically have a mother and daughter whale, and only one of them was within range of whatever caused this evolution. It would be nice if there was more evidence in the actual show to explain this, but I think this works as a simple way to explain the logistics of it. Woo! Childhood ruined yet? Well, don't worry, there's still time for this theory to get even worse. Now's your chance to remove yourself before things get really dark.
Yeah, speaking of worse, now that I'm just watching it again and thinking back about it, I'm not sure if I believe that whole Mother of Pearl stuff. Like, I'm sure there's something there with Mother of Pearl because Mr. Krabs does say it a lot. I'm sure there's some kind of like story behind it. I don't know. I just feel like seeing those pictures of whales and also just using that harpoon. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch. But yeah, let's continue. The part where it gets really dark.
Long
Commercial.
day.
All right, let me resume.
Still here? Okay, so here's a fun question. What's the deal with all the pets in Bikini Bottom? How come most fish are basically humans, but a snail or a worm acts like a pet? Well, just like humans have domesticated wild animals, it should be no surprise that evolved fish have domesticated primitive fish as pets. Unlike the massive primitive fish that the Bikini Bottom citizens had to go to war with, there's also smaller primitive fish like jellyfish, snails, spirit worms, seahorses, and clams that the Bikini Bottom citizens were able to form a symbiotic relationship with. Aww, and I thought you said this was gonna be the dark part, Alex. They're living peacefully together. That's nice. Okay, you got me. Here's another fun question. Where do the citizens of Bikini Bottom get their food? I mean, sure, some of it is plant-based, but there sure does seem to be an awful lot of meat-based food under the sea.
Yeah, some
I
chicken.
think you know where I'm going with this. The Bikini Bottom citizens eat primitive fish. Haha, it's
Forgot
not
about this part.
cannibalism if they're less evolved than you, right? There's no moral dilemma there.
I mean, what the f else are they gonna eat? Sand?
In season 3,
I mean, I feel like that's
episode 13,
normal,
we
though.
see direct proof of this when the characters go fishing.
Like,
for
maybe
primitive
within a kid's show,
plants.
it's
This
a
is
bit messed
something
up, but
completely normal in this world.
fish
And
do
then
eat
there's
do
the
eat
chum
other fish.
buckets, which sells chum. chum.
Yeah, chum.
Chum is literally just ground up fish. The show isn't even hiding this. Now, we don't really see too much of the meat harvesting side of Bikini Bottom, and I'm not surprised they're keeping it on the DL, you know, with the whole cannibalism thing, but there is one secret to making food that is kept more secret than anything in Bikini Bottom. The
Krabby
best
Patty.
kept secret in the entire show. You already know what I'm gonna say, the Krabby Patty secret formula. Throughout the show, there's been lots of contradictory evidence about the Krabby Patty secret formula. In Season 4, Episode 7, Mr. Krabs says it's an old family recipe.
Your mother knows the Krabby Patty formula? Of course.
Yeah, so many different variations of the history.
Family recipe.
But in Season 5, Episode 1, apparently Mr. Krabs discovered it on his own by accidentally mixing random ingredients together.
Yeah, there was this too.
I've done it.
This was like the past of Mr. Krabs and Plankton.
Sometimes it's a secret formula, sometimes it's a book, sometimes it's a secret sauce, and any glimpse we get at the formula is just random nonsense. There is a ton of contradictory evidence out there, but I think this might all be intentional. In order to throw people off, Mr. Krabs has spread misinformation about the Krabby Patty formula. In fact, he's already done this in Season 3, Episode 18 by hiding a fake formula for Plankton to find that says he's the secret ingredient.
Mixed together with the most important ingredient of all, 4 heaping pounds of freshly ground
Plankton.
plankton.
And the contradictions aren't just inside the show. Even one of the SpongeBob crew members once said that Krabby Patties are vegetarian and contain no meat. But I've always been a little suspicious about what the creators say. They've also said that they're not allowed to show fish as food, except they clearly do with chum, clam fishing, and all the many, many gags where fish turn into food. It's almost like
Maybe
they're
just
not
not
allowed by
fish eating
Nickelodeon to
fish.
publicly acknowledge this because that could create a controversy, but they could still sneak this dark secret into the show. So what is the true secret?
Yeah, I feel like it's more of like
Where
just
does
fish
the
eating
meat really
fish that
come
they're
from?
not
It's strange.
allowed to
We
see
never really
or
see
view.
Mr. Krabs get the meat delivered, or at least go out himself to get it. It's almost like he has all the meat he needs stockpiled somewhere. What primitive meat can Mr. Krabs have access to? Maybe he's been holding on to something from the war. What could Mr. Krabs have killed during the war that he doesn't want anyone to find out about? Something big enough
Mother
to
of
supply
pearl.
him with meat for years without needing more. What could that be?
Oh no, no. You not about to tell me.
Wait.
What could that be?
No.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
You really gonna make me say it?
Yes.
Mr. Krabs is using Pearl's dead mother's carcass to make Krabby Patties. Woo! We did it! Yeah, we solved the mystery! We did it!
How could you be celebrating this?
Season 1, Episode 15, Sleepy Time. Mr. Krabs has a dream that he's on a boat fishing for a massive dollar. This is his memory of killing Pearl's mother, except now all he sees her as is money.
I forgot about
And
this part,
take a
too.
Guess what name he calls the dollar.
What you doing, Mr. Krabs?
I'm picking Neptune's bucket.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about cold hard flipping cash. It's the mighty Moby Dollar.
Moby Dollar, a direct reference to Moby Dick, a story about hunting a whale. Are you kidding me? And
Okay. I feel like for me, just so far, like I can definitely see it. The only thing is just, him just trying to use the pictures. Like, yeah, these over here. Wow, I just somehow got that perfectly. But I don't know about using them as like that being actually Pearl's mother, and also just using that harpoon because I just feel like it's too generic. Like it can just be anything. But I do think, yeah, just with this here, because dreams are usually just memories, and he's just seeing it as money as well. So yeah, he's just thinking about just making money off this dead whale.
that is the evolution theory. Eugene Krabs' aspirations for money and greed have caused him to do terrible, terrible things. At least his love for Pearl seems to be real, so maybe there's some small amount of good in him. And even though Pearl's mother probably provides tons of meat, eventually he's gonna run out and he'll have to face what he's done. Well, unless of course there's another whale he has access to.
He does.
Nope. Nope. No.
He does have another
No,
whale.
No. Mr. Krabs wouldn't do that. He loves Pearl.
I feel like
He's
he
not
should,
just raising her for
if he
Krabby
ever does
Patty.
this.
Even Mr. Krabs isn't that much of a monster.
From every
I feel like he should de-evolve her first just to get the most out of the meat. I know that's kind of weird and dark to talk about, but I feel like that's what he would do. Oh man. Everyone just reacting to this dark secret. Yeah, everyone is sad.
Alrighty then, that's the end of that theory. Just gonna end it here before there's any more dark plot twists. Okay, so a lot of people had issues with the Pearl's mother Krabby Patty theory. Specifically, the realism and logic behind how just one whale could create enough Krabby Patty meat for so many years. But listen, I don't make these theories using real-world logic. I try and use the show's own internal logic. But if you want to bring real-world logic into this and argue about how long whale meat would last,
wow.
I think the
There's
real
math.
world actually supports my theory. When a whale dies in the real-world ocean, it has a very profound effect on the environment. Entire marine ecosystems will form around a decomposing whale corpse, and scavengers can feed off of it for up to 50 years. This is
Dang.
a phenomenon called whale fall. And this explains why total chaos breaks out whenever Bikini Bottom runs out of Krabby Patties.
The Krabby Patty is what ties us all together.
That is true. They always panic whenever there's no
Breakdown
Krabby
of
Patties.
Social order.
Wow.
Overreacting a bit. Welcome to the apocalypse, Mr. Squidward.
Just
That's
like
from
a
the
real
movie.
whale fall, the ecosystem of Bikini Bottom is completely dependent on it. Also, another YouTuber, Athena P, pointed out to me that there's this moment in a newer episode of the Patrick Star Show.
This episode addresses Alex Bale's Krabby Patties are made from Pearl's mother theory.
Oh my gosh,
pretty
really?
Directly.
I'm Eugene Krabs. Krabby Patties are made with whale oil. You'll leave my daughter out of this.
I never seen this dude. What the heck? Yeah, I haven't watched Camp Coral that much, or any episodes of the Patrick Star Show. Jeez. Oh my gosh, dude. I had to pause for that moment. Just more evidence. Okay, I think I'm on board now. Like, I'm fully on board. Yeah, before I was a bit skeptical just because, you know, I wasn't sure if just like showing pictures of whales and a harpoon, I didn't feel like that was a connection, but I don't know, just seeing more of this, I can definitely see it now. Like it's back to me because I remember before I fully believe in this theory, but you know, in retrospect, just looking back on it, I guess that it was only that one part that I wasn't fully sold on. But this here, I can, yeah, I'm down with.
So that's
Yeah.
that's something. I mean, take that as you will. So yeah, I still think the Pearl's mother Krabby Patty theory is solid.
Yeah, I know he said whale oil, by the way, and not like, you know, whale meat. And also my camera's low bat. I'm gonna fix that. Oh man, that's that's something interesting to add, at least.
It's at least better than that crab meat theory that people won't stop commenting about. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna quickly debunk that theory.
There we
'cause
go,
I
debunk
know
it.
people are still gonna comment about it on this video. Here's an extra bonus mini theory, just because this theory
Dang.
annoys me so much.
There's like 10 theories,
So, a lot
10
of
mini
people
theories.
think that Krabby Patties are actually made of crab meat, and Mr. Krabs is going around killing all the crabs in Bikini Bottom. This is the comment I will get for the rest of my life.
It's crab meat.
Actual crab? I mean, why else would Mr. Krabs be the only crab in Bikini Bottom? Except for his mom and his dad and his nephews. Okay, but there's no crabs outside of his family, except
there
for this
is.
guy and this doctor and this kid and these two crabs and this circus guy.
Did they have
But
like a crab
besides them,
convention too?
There's no crabs in Bikini Bottom. Okay, even if there is not like a lot of crabs, there's equally not a lot of sponges or starfish or pufferfish or squirrels in Bikini Bottom. Bikini Bottom is like 90% generic fish. But then why is it named the Krusty Krab? Cause the owner's a crab, and that's his last name. But even if we ignore that, it's like, why would Mr. Krabs advertise his dark secret as the name of his restaurant? But then why is the Krusty Krab shaped like a crab trap? Okay, this is actually the one good
I thought it was
piece
a
of evidence
chest,
in this theory.
like a pirate
I think
chest.
it's a little ambiguous whether it's supposed to be a crab trap or a lobster trap, so I did some digging, and Patchy actually calls it a lobster trap in a SpongeBob DVD bonus.
Oh, I thought it was a chest this whole time, like a treasure chest, because you know he's a pirate.
Bikini Bottom's hungry denizens.
They also find a very similar looking building in Camp Coral and call it a lobster trap.
Oh no!
Wow.
We've walked into a real life lobster trap!
I could maybe see
I didn't know
this
that.
kind of working, but you'd kind of expect if this was their secret intention, they would like call it a crab trap, you know? But what about the scene where Mr. Crab eats one and he says that it tastes like him?
Wait, what?
So that's what I taste like.
This is supposed to be the smoking gun piece of evidence that's all over TikTok, but nobody actually shows the clip with context.
Mommy, my Krabby Patty tastes funny.
Well, no wonder. It's all old and dried out, like that man right there.
I remember the
Thing
scene.
where it belongs, in the garbage.
Well, little Patty.
Yeah, it was in reference to
we're
that.
the kind. We've both lost our luster. So that's what I taste like.
Mr. Krabs says the patty tastes like him because the lady called the patty old and dry like him. And he's been feeling insecure about his age in this episode. Like, I'm not saying the Pearl's mom theory is the best theory ever, but it's better than this shit. Come on.
How does it hold up?
All right. The
I thought it
evolution
held up pretty good.
theory. I know I like to call each of my theories the darkest theory I've ever made, but like, this is the actual darkest one. We all know it. This is some sick, twisted
the whole
shit. I think this theory has its
Pearl and
flaws
stuff.
and relies on a couple big assumptions, but at the end of the day, it's still just so entertaining and interesting to me that I'd probably still put it right in the middle at 4th place, even
Yeah,
after all the
I agree with
corrections and
that.
alternative ideas. This next mini theory is also kind of an extension to the evolution theory.
I do wonder
but
what
it's
the third
also
one
a
is.
Really interesting
The third
brand new
place.
theory about the history of Bikini Bottom and the true purpose of this show. Let's get into it.
The human war theory. So what's up with the humans here?
So, if there's one thing I'd probably change about my evolution theory, it would be the second part about the war.
After the war,
Why?
crabs stayed secluded in a deep depression.
You think it's a fish
that
versus
seemed
human war
endless.
and not
I
like
think
the
there definitely
primitive?
was a war in Bikini Bottom, but I don't think it was between evolved and primitive fish anymore.
It was
There's
humans.
just way more evidence that the war Mr. Krabs fought in was actually a war between fish and humans. And I think this concept for a human war has been secretly present in the show from the very start. Every
Really?
single building in Bikini Bottom is made out of some sort of debris from the human world. Now, this is a reference to how marine ecosystems in real life often form around things that fell from the surface. But the debris isn't always just random objects or pollution. A surprising amount of the buildings feel like they're from the aftermath of a massive war. There are
Yeah, a lot of
ton
boats.
buildings made out of sunken ships, but there's also anchors, submarines, lobster traps, bait and tackle boxes, undersea mines. There's even a building made out of a dead bucket of fish. If you really look at the show's aesthetic, it gives the impression that Bikini Bottom is an Adventure Time style post-apocalyptic wasteland where a massive war
That's an
between
interesting
humans
way
and
to like
fish took
see
place.
this.
Mr. Krabs Navy Convention
I like this theory so
Center
far.
is literally a giant torpedo. We get further confirmation of this as early as Season 1 Hooky, when a bunch of humans start fishing in Bikini Bottom. Pay close attention to how Mr. Krabs reacts.
Yeah, he's like,
They're back, I tell you! I saw them with
it's probably
my
trauma
own
from the
eyes.
war.
They're back. Mr. Krabs
Like with the
has dealt
humans.
with this before, probably because these were the same hooks from the war he fought in. From humans' perspective, they're just fishing, but for the citizens
Wait.
of Bikini Bottom, this was a brutal war.
You think just because they're fishing, they count that as a war? It's like, I'm sure the humans don't even realize that they're in a war. Oh my gosh.
And listen to what he says about what happens if the hooks catch you.
They cook you, and then they eat you, or worse.
What could be worse than that?
Gift shops.
Shell City?
You'll end up in gift shops. This gives a whole new context to the Shell City gift shop we see in the SpongeBob movie.
Wait a second. Those fish are Dad.
All these dead fish are victims from the human war. Look, the gift shop in Hookie even has a very similar sign to the Shell City gift shop. Among the dead fish in Shell City, we specifically see the same type of royal seahorses King Neptune uses. Which
Oh, wow.
makes sense because as King of the Sea, he would probably be the one commanding the army to go fight the humans. Movie Neptune even talks about Shell City like he has personal experience with it.
My crown is in the forbidden Shell City! No one who's gone to Shell City has ever returned!
I guess this could also mean Mr. Puff was a victim of the war, but I kind of prefer the idea from my new Mrs. Puff mini theory. We also
Yeah, I
see
prefer that
giant
too.
hooks all over Mr. Krabs' wall of memorabilia, along with other human fishing tools. There's even a picture of the Bikini Bottom museum ship before it was sunk in the war and later turned into a museum. There's also
Oh, wow.
this picture of a human pirate. And
Yeah, I
before
saw
you say
that too.
anything, no, this is not Patchy.
I saw
It's
the human
probably just
pirate there.
someone he fought in the war. Listen, I still definitely think these pictures could be Pearl's mother, and she's still the source of the Krabby Patty meat, but instead of Mr. Krabs killing her, she was probably just a casualty of the human war, and Mr. Krabs just found her dead body and adopted her orphan daughter. There's also the Hook
And then just using the
Museum,
meat to
which with this context
make
looks
money.
much more just like a straight up war museum. Now, these are smaller hooks, so I initially thought maybe this was just a museum of hooks made by evolved fish to catch primitive fish like clams, but listen closely to the audio Mr. Krabs is listening to.
The three-pronged jig hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago.
The hook was first sighted in local waters more than 100 years ago. This is definitely a museum of human hooks, and we
Yeah.
now know this war has been
Sighted.
going on for at least 100 years. There's also tons of movies and TV shows in Bikini Bottom based around the horrors of hooks.
Oh, you know what? That's true.
Tonight's frightening feature.
The idea of this human war is everywhere in the show, and it's played a big role in shaping the culture of Bikini Bottom. But here's the strange thing about all of this. The Bikini Bottom we see today is not at war. The only time we see humans fishing in Bikini Bottom is in this one single episode, and Mr. Krabs even says they're back.
They're back!
As if this is not a normal occurrence. This implies that the humans previously stopped attacking for some reason. So what ended this great human war that lasted for at least 100 years? Well, clearly humans and fish have a much more peaceful relationship now. The entire SpongeBob SquarePants show is made by humans with the help of certain fish, including Mr. Krabs, who used to fight against them. What if the reason why the war ended was because of this show? The original human research team that was mentioned in the SpongeBob pitch Bible
we're going back to
showed
the pitch.
world that Bikini Bottom had extremely intelligent life and proved that instead of killing the fish, they could peacefully profit off of them by making their lives into a
Oh,
TV
wow.
show. SpongeBob
Okay. So I'm guessing at first they were just scared of like just how evolved they are, and that maybe they might do something to take over the land, maybe. But then, I guess maybe at some point they didn't see them that much of a threat, and that maybe instead of like being in this war, that they just had a truce or something. Dang, just to make this nature documentary, this nature drama documentary, like reality show thing. Hmm. Okay, that's something that I can get behind, I think. Wow. I am still wondering about the whole primitive fish part. Like if that was like cuz like this feels like a different theory where I'm not sure if they can coincide, like coexist with each other. So I'm not sure how this theory here fits in with like the evolution theory. Cuz there's like two wars. Or yeah, I guess maybe both can happen at the same or not, maybe not at the same time, but maybe different points. Or what if like the nukes from Bikini Atoll is what made them start a war, you think? Like maybe at first it was the war between the primitive and the evolved fish, and then the evolved fish won, and then it was the evolved fish versus the humans. That could be the timeline.
doesn't even know it, but I think he might be the reason why 100-year-long brutal war between humans and fish has come to a peaceful
Just because of
end.
SpongeBob?
And that is the human war theory.
Wow. All right, guys. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this video. That was the evolution theory, and I guess debunking the crab theory, and also the human mini war or war mini theory. No, yeah, I like them all. I do think, you know, just that evidence with the picture, that's the only thing that I feel like was a bit iffy. I think everything else I do agree upon. But yeah, I liked it, man. I thought it was a good theory with the human war mini theory. Because yeah, I can definitely see it just being like debris that they use after the war. But yeah, that is something interesting to think about too. But yeah, I do think that's a timeline where, I don't know, maybe the nukes, right, in Bikini Atoll, because if you don't know, Bikini Atoll, like from my memory, was just a testing ground to test out nukes. And I'm sure that, you know, once the fish spawn in, both the primitive and the evolved one, like they both had a war, and then the evolved fish won, and then the evolved fish tried to go after the humans for, I guess, nuking. Yeah, I'm guessing maybe some of the evolved fish witnessed like the multiple nukings, because I think there's been multiple nukes on Bikini Atoll, I think, that they've been testing out. So maybe they saw that as like a declaration of war or something. But at the same time, you know, the I'm not sure what counts as a war though for the humans, because like I'm not sure if they even realized that they were in a war. But I'm guessing that they did that they know that there's a war, because like they saw that they can make money off of SpongeBob, and so that's why they stopped the war. And maybe instead they just work together with the fish to make the SpongeBob show, which I think makes sense with Mr. Krabs, at least, because he's, you know, like related to the war. I'm sure they would talk to him to, like, you know, as part of the truce to make that camera room under the Krusty Krab. But yeah, I like the theories here. I do like them a lot. Next time we'll be watching the Neptune theory and the Grandpats mini theory. Isn't Grandpats in the Patrick Star Show? That's just what it sounds like. I never watched it, but that's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, once again, go ahead and check out Alex Bale here on his official compilation video, just to give him a view and some watch time. Go and support him there. But yeah, guys, next time will be these two theories over here. That'll be it for now. That's game.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good